And so always when people always come here, I always say, hey, young Hamalu, wait to ante. So I'm saying, hello, my family, my friend, how are you? Because I want to make people welcome here. And then I introduce the land to people here, is I always say, Sestia, to Tish Tang Ting Nan, Kitlahan Plikai Tutnanan. The saying where this land sticks out, touches, and meets the water, and where the white deer drinks. So where the white deer drinks means in our people. So we actually do a dance called the White Deerskin Dance, which is a ceremony for renewal of the Mother Earth. Because we always, in this life, we always take the Mother Earth for granted, and we don't really know with all the blessings that the Mother Earth gives us.
Yeah.
And so we always want to make sure that we say thank you to the Mother Earth. In this on is the Mother Earth. So when people do come here, I'm just a spokesman. I'm just a person that helps caretake the place. But my ancestors, the Kehenai, are the ones that invite people here because they're bringing people here to be healed or to wash away their burdens and to help regenerate and become new when they leave. Because I always tell people, like, when you leave here, leave with a smile on your face because you take that with you.
Yeah.
And once you take it with you, you can spread that. But I always tell people, like, hey, we'll send more people here because this place does really have a healing place to it. For you, there's actually you come around the corner there and you look down that little flat there.
Yeah.
There's a little trail goes down right there. So on that little trail under, there's a rock looks like a big giant bear paw. In front of it looks like a pyramid.
Wow.
But it's a woman's prayer rock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was going to tell you that's a very special place for you to go make a prayer.
I will do that.
So I have people from all over the world, shaman women, actually a lot of people from, women from, priests from China, women, that come here and pray here. And when COVID was here, the gates were locked, but I had a whole bunch of, Asian ladies that were, they were all dressed in their, I guess, spiritual gowns.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all going to the rock. They said this is a very special place.
Yeah.
They felt the power there for healing.
Yeah.
And just making prayers for, And I always say when people go there, when you make a prayer for the Mother Earth and Father Sky and all things that we just kind of take for granted. I said, then pray for all the animals and all the things that we're blessed with to see, and and the gifts that we have, like trees, the air, all that stuff is a gift. The water, the ground that we walk on is a gift. And pray for all that. And then I said, you can pray for all the people in the world to help heal them, because this earth needs to be healed. Our people need to heal themselves and not have all this conflict.
Yeah.
And so pray for that. And then I always say, then you can pray for your family. For your brothers, sisters, aunties, mothers, grandmothers, thanking them for all the gifts that we can share together. And then I said, then you can make a prayer for yourself. Because we should, in our prayers, we should be last in our prayers. Because we want to pray for everything else, and we become the last of the prayer. So I always tell the women that go there and make prayers, because I have a lot of ladies that come through here. And so one time this lady was driving past here. She was coming from Portland, and she was going down to LA area, but she had a friend in Willow Creek area, so she wanted to stop and see. And so anyway, she was driving by. She said, something tried to come stop here. Go down there. There's something there for you. Spiritually, so she heard this in her head.
Yeah.
And so she drove to Willow Creek before she was going to head down south, and she stayed with her friend. But she came back the next day before she went down there. She goes, I told my friend I had to come back to this place because it told me to come back here. Anyway, she goes, it told me to stop at this right here, go down here and get on this rock, and this is where I should be praying. Because she was like a medium, and she was reading, things.
Yeah.
And anyway, she stopped there, and she was all, into her prayer, I guess. Anyway, I kind of waited for her, and she came up, and I was like, oh, you found a woman's prayer rock? She goes, no, it invited me down here. When I was driving by, it told me to come down here.
Yeah.
It had something for me here. I said, the Kahinai, my ancestors, the ancient people, wanted to bless you some way. So when we call Natinaway, where the trails return is that you're in your path of your life where you're supposed to be coming to on that trail of your life right now.
Wow.
And so I was trained by a shaman when I was a young boy. So he told me people don't understand why they come to this valley, but they come here to be blessed some way and somehow. And when they leave, they're truly blessed.
That's
So-
really touching. That's touching me deeply right now.
Yeah.
I'm really-
So anyway, I'm the physical health and recreation manager. So my job is to create physical health and
Yeah.
wellness.
Yeah.
And recreation is to do physical things for people in the valley to make sure they're doing activities, doing all things, but not only that, but doing physical health, mental health, everything comes here too.
Yeah.
Because this place is very special to me. So I'll tell you a story that happened to me. Okay. So when I took this place about 8 years ago, this place did not look like this. This looked like a jungle of poison oak. And so anyway, I would just kind of collect the money and not really, I would just collect the money,
Yeah.
not really communicating with people. And so when I start communicating with people, it's like, well, what do you guys think about this place? Like, what do you think is the worst thing about this campground? They said the poison oak.
Yeah.
They would leave here and they said they'd be just broke out, and that's why a lot of them would leave.
Yeah.
I said, what if I cleaned this whole place out and took all the poison oak out of here and make it very, very, I said, how would you guys feel about that? They go, well, some people probably wouldn't like, because it would take away their privacy. I said, well, if they wanted their privacy, they can go to a motel. I said, this is a campground.
Yeah.
I said, a campground is a place where you want to have like a safe place for you and your children. Because if I take away the poison oak, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And I said, there's one thing that, I wanted to do is make people safe here. Because not only just taking out the poison oak, because there's wild animals around here that come through here.
Yeah.
Now these animals don't come into this area, they'll go around into the more brushier area, so keeping them and their children safe. I want to make sure that, that was one of the biggest things here. And when I first came to work here, I took out about 400 bags of garbage out of here.
Wow.
It was garbage
Everywhere.
like everywhere through here. It was like, it was undescribable how much garbage came out of here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure the bathrooms were clean. I wanted to make sure that there was water available here. And when you came here, I wanted to be nice and safe, but not only for your physical, but for your mental and everything else. So that was kind of my whole thing I wanted to do here. And as I said, when I first started cleaning here, I cleaned that one whole top area, and I got to that top spot up there, and I got there and I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It's way too much work for just one person. Because it was way too much work for me.
Very good.
And so I'm like, oh man. And so I parked my truck up there and I walked the edge up there. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this more. Kind of talking to the creators, like, I don't know if I want to do this no more. So this is a true story. This really happened to me. I walk back and I get in my truck. And about 5 seconds after I get in my truck, a bolt of lightning about this big around, a blue big bolt of lightning hit about from me to your tent.
Wow.
And shook my truck all around. I'm like, okay, that's a sign. Okay, I'll keep working.
Yeah.
So that happened to me. And within a 10-minute period, a person drove by and told me, Inker, you brought this place back to life. It was like, it had no spirit here. Now it's like, it feels like it's back living again.
Yeah.
It feels like it should have been 200-300 years ago when the old people used to have been here before us. And I think, like my ancestors that Ken and I, put me here for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. To torture me for all this work. But there was a reason for everything.
Yeah.
So even when I start working on the backside over here where the traditional village site used to be, so I start cutting all the underbrush because you could never see it because it was like overloaded with brush.
Yeah.
And so I start taking it all out and I come to the first Hoopa pit. And I started clearing out. I was like, oh, well, I gotta ask. The Yamatanu, the creator, if this is what if it's okay for me to be doing this. I said, because I go by, signs.
Yeah.
So anyway, I asked him about, this is a true story too. This big old bald eagle come flying along the edge, came right beside me like that, and just kind of flexed up like that, and flew by me and flew off.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'd be working here, getting in the winter time, getting like little in the evening time, someone would tell me, stop working, don't work anymore, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
And I'd like pull my ear off, like, who's talking to me? Who just told me that? But it was my ancestors saying, hey, it's time to stop working because it's getting dark. You may get hurt.
Yeah.
There's nobody down here with you. Time to quit.
Yeah.
So I listened to them. So that's what I always tell people when they go to the river, listen to what it has to tell you, because this place will talk to you and let you know if you're doing right or wrong.
Mm.
And so I did have some young guys down here, and they were drinking a lot, and they're non-natives, and they were spinning hookers and doing all kinds of things. And so I pulled up next to them in my vehicle, and I was like, hey guys, I said, where do you guys live? They go, well, why do you know where I live? I said, because I want to go to your yard. I'm going to do some hookers and stuff in your guys' yard and disrespect your guys' place where you guys live.
Yeah.
And they kind of looked at me for a long time like, oh, we're sorry. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be disrespecting. I said, because you know what? You disrespect this place will let you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, the kid came back to me. He says, I thought about it for a long time. He goes, I had to come back and see you. He goes, I thought about it. And he goes, you're right about how we were acting on your land. I said, it's not my land. I said, I don't own this land. Creator owns the land. I don't own nothing here. I'm just a caretaker. But when you come and disrespect it, you're going to pay consequences, not me. I was just letting you guys know that, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, because what if you guys would have flipped over and rolled your truck or hit some kid or threw a rock and hit some kid, and you guys could have been, in trouble for the rest of your life, or somebody could have got hurt or whatever. I said, he goes, yeah, I really thought about it. He goes, I told my friends, he goes, yeah, we need to go back up there and apologize for what we've done. He goes, if we ever come back here, Inca, we'll never do that again.
Yes.
But anyway, so it does, it as I say, it has a good and has a bad. It just tries to keep balance here. Sometimes I'm in the right place at the right time, and I'm sorry I didn't get to be with the young man because I think I could have made sure that they weren't in the river.
Yeah.
But in that moment of my life, I always take care of my own son, so I sometimes that happens. I can't control all humanity. I mean, what I can do is I can help let people know about this place, because it does have a high spiritual, good and bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just depends on how you treat it and how you want to, I mean, like you folks coming here, you guys are relaxed, enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Place is very comfortable, not too hot, nice and kind of. So this place does have like different types of moods for it.
Yeah.
So there's mellow times, and there's sometimes it likes to have to be a little active here too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I always tell people like, well, we're not about building a fire. I said, if you build a fire, I said, my ancestors were ancient people. They built fires. That's how spirituality would go into the, because the old people like it when they see people here. My ancestors like to have people here because there was people here before, and now they're inviting people into their world, and letting them know. So a lot of women, I don't know, a lot of women here have dreams about a white bear. So this white bear comes to them in their dreams, and some know how to handle it and some don't. And I had a lady, she was Asian. She got really scared. She goes, I woke my husband. She goes, this bear was trying to talk to me. I said, what language was it talking to you? She goes, I really don't know. I said, well, so a white bear or a white animal in our culture is a good thing. It's a spirit coming into you. Is going to give you a message, You either accept it or not accept it. I said, but it was going to bring a message of something good. So don't be scared of it,
Yeah.
because it had something. It had a message for you.
Yeah.
So sometimes just take that time and listen, because this place does have a lot of dream worlds here.
I can see that.
Because I mean, if you really think about it, there's interdimensional, right? There's like the now that we're living in. There was a past that our people came from, and there's a future that we've been in. So our future is probably our past too, and our past is probably our future, because we're living in it now. Because I always tell people, like, when you're born, are you born old or are you born new? They go, well, we're born new. I said, when you're born new, which way do you go? Like, we grow older. I said, maybe you were in the future. Now you're just going back into the past of our ancestral, where we should be and what we should be doing in our spiritual life. And they're like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, well, you have those experiences too, where it's like, you felt like you've done this before.
Yeah.
Or you've been here before, or you met someone before. Or,
Yeah, like a deja vu, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I always say a deja vu is in alignment with your life.
Mhm.
They go, I've done this before. Like, well, you have, because you've been in this past before, and you're just coming back to where the trail returns back to this valley.
That's one of the signs.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, just so for your information, when we didn't have a plan to come here, and we've just been traveling around California and going to different spots, and the plan was we were going to go stay at Bluff Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove up there, and when we got to the campground there, for some reason, it was just very dark, and the clouds were dark, and the sky was dark, and for some reason we just weren't feeling it. And Tish Tang kept popping up in my head, and I hadn't been down here to the campground actually, but I'd driven by and seen the sign a bunch of times, and I was like, there's another campground around here. Let's go look at Tish Tang, and if we need to, we can keep going or find come back or whatever. And then we came down here, and as soon as we pulled in, I was like, oh look, that's a beautiful campsite. Look how nice and open this space is. And then we pulled down around the corner, and you came and greeted us, and you introduced yourself and you welcomed us, and just that whole experience for us was like the sign of like, oh, we found the place where we're meant to be right now.
Yeah.
And so it's true. It's 4 days, and we have been. It's been very rejuvenating, and that's part of what we're doing on our trip. This is like our vision of a mini vision quest or something, to kind of realign with our lives and find out where we belong, because we're trying to find our home,
Well, the part about it too, so I have a lot of people that do come here because of their quest so I had a girl that was a nurse in the San Francisco area. This is like middle of dead winter too, because I don't like people in the river. But I drove up into the river up here. It was still like, it wasn't really high, like I was still going through pretty good. And I pull up there and I see this naked girl in the river. I'm like, oh, what is she doing? Because anyway, I drive up there and she walks her car and she puts her clothes on, and I said, well, what are you doing? She goes, I'm a trauma nurse out of the Bay Area. And she goes, I just wanted to get away from people. And she goes, I'm on this quest of finding myself, she said. And she said, I've been here before. And she goes, I felt the river could wash away all that burden I've been carrying on me. And she goes, and I said, are you gonna be okay? She goes, no, I'm fine. She goes, I just need, because she goes, I'm just out there kind of trying to find out who I am and my purpose in life is.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, you were brought here by an ancestor to help you on that quest. And so I said, just be careful. Then she goes, well, do you want to join me? I said, well, I don't think my wife would like that too much. But I said, thank you. I said, but just be careful in the river. But I said, come back again. I said, come back, I said, because I am going to be building showers and sauna here. I said, I'm building the sauna because it's not really a sauna. It's actually a taikyu, and a taikyu is a traditional place where we can be reborn and wipe away all the burdens that we've been carrying in our lives. Because I said a lot of people come here and like, and I know when people want to be here and when people don't want to be here, and usually I greet people that want to be here, and I know people like, I'm just here. They're just here just for the river, but most people that come here, they read about me. I'm like, like, are you that guy? Are you Inkers? Like, well, yeah. So anyway, I talked to him, and I kind of give a little bit of history about the place, and not only history, but why they're coming here. Why they picked this spot. They could go any place else in in the world or wherever, but why they're coming here in this moment of their life. And so I had this kids from college here about a month ago, and so anyway, I started talking to them about everything, and I was like, everything has a spirit here. I said, even that little simple piece of sand right there has a spirit. Anyway, I kind of talked for quite a while, and I drove off, and I came back, and he was like looking at some rocks and talking. He goes, you know what? You kind of opened my eyes. He goes, I've never really realized all these things have importance to our life. Everything has a meaning to where I step and what I see and how I feel, and I've never experienced that before. And because I just want to thank you. And then last year I was talking to a bunch of other college kids too. Anyway, I was kind of talking to them in a little bit of Hoopa, and they were all listening to me. And then there was this one boy. He was kind of not, he was, I don't know if he was half part native and half black or whatever. And anyway, he falls over, stiffens out, stops breathing. In that moment, they kind of start freaking out. And so I jump over, hit him twice on the chest, and he goes, what happened to me? I said, my ancestors came and took you for a little bit because they wanted to make you understand there's more than just what you see. They want to open you up. They opened you up spiritually now. He goes, it was kind of, and all the other kids, like, they looked at me and go, who are you?
Yeah.
That's the exact words that they told me.
Yeah.
But I was in the right moment at the right time.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what to do. And he was actually not breathing. And I just gave him this couple right here and popped him back out. And he's like, it took him a little while to recover. But he just went blank and never happened to him before. And he didn't even remember how he even got there.
Yeah.
But I said, you guys need to talk to him, make sure he focus. And then a couple of years ago, these are all true stories, things that happened to me here.
Yeah.
So there was a lady down here that was just paying for their day fee to use the river. This is during when the people could swim and stuff like that. But it was kind of hot. Anyway, she came up and she was going to pay me my day fee for $3. And I was like, how you doing? And I started talking a little bit. And her husband was kind of sitting down there. And I said, how you doing, sir? And he's like, hey. He goes, I remember you, Inker. And anyway, so I was just getting her to sign my book. And she looks at me. And she just falls in my arms. She's out. And so I put her down. I said, sir, your wife just passed out. And she's like, for about a minute, she was like out.
Yeah.
And so he came up there like, what should I do? What should I do? I said, well, I think she might be a little too hot. She might have had because she came from the coast when it's like 100-some degrees here.
Yeah.
And she's not, when you're not used to it, you cannot, because she didn't dehydrate enough, she said. Anyway, I told her, get her feet in the water. Don't get her, like I said, kind of wipe her down easily because you don't want to put her into shock.
Yeah.
Because anytime that you go into like a heat stroke, you want to cool them slowly. And so I was like, just kind of cool her down slowly. And anyway, before we get there, she goes, "Can I sit down?" Like, yeah, just sit down, just like in the shade right here, and just kind of like let yourself come back. Anyway, we got her to the river finally and got her feet in and kind of cool her down a little bit. And I go, I don't know what it is about this place, but women are always falling for me here. they both cracked up laughing because you have to have that humor with that too.
Yeah, yeah.
And
lighten up the situation.
yeah, because realistically, it could have been worse than that. She could have had, she could have died in my arms right there, and could have had a heart attack, but because you never know.
Yeah.
So I have saved a lot of people's lives down here. I've saved a lot of guys that all buffed out, thinking, oh, I can do this, I do that. I said, don't play with that river, man. That river's more powerful than you think it is. Yep, they went to hypothermia and had to call ambulances and haul them out of here. But I talked them through where to get to, how to hold on. Lucky police boats were here at the time, and but I always tell people this place is not only a beautiful place, but this place has spiritual powers too.
Yeah. And
if you don't respect it, they can take you. So there used to be a rope swing down here. So a lady took a picture one time in the wintertime, and she still has it. She's supposed to make me a copy because I want to put it in my house up here. So in this picture, there's a mist that's coming out of the water, and it's going around like this, and it has stairways.
Oh wow!
Going up, stairways going all the way up this, and it looks like a stairway.
Yeah.
So. There's a pathway right there into the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So, but she caught it on camera.
Yeah, sometimes the camera catches those things that you can't even see with their own eyes.
Yeah. So as I say, there's gateways here.
Yeah.
For dimensional travel. And like the boy, I mean, we never find him.
Yeah.
But he's always will be with this river, spiritually, and he's actually with the Kahenai, my ancestors here, because they take him for a reason, to help him in their world, and they could help him in this world, and help guide him. And so he's with my ancestors. So, but in the 8 years I've been here, I've had 2 kids that drowned. 2 days apart. One drowned on April 20th, and one this fellow died on April 22nd.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen it.
Yeah.
And before I worked here, people have, because they come down here and kind of disrespect it. And that's why I try to educate them, not only about the dangers, but the spiritual dangers too, about disrespecting or, thinking it's just something that you can look at and all it's beautiful and this, that, and not realize how powerful them spiritual are.
Yeah.
Even in the trees and piece of grass, and they all have a meaning for something.
Yeah, because he read the Hoopa Project a long time ago, and watched the David Paulides stuff, and so he kept it all these years, and then.
Thank you, sir.
We were coming this area, so I'm like, I'm going to read it because I actually haven't read it, and so we've been reading passages, and then we didn't get very far, but we did get into we came across your name, and he made a real point how helpful you were for him to connect.
Yeah,
to
I did,
different.
actually, he came to me. The first person he came to was me.
Yeah.
So I've had Bigfoot hunters come to me in my 20s too.
Yeah.
Because my story started when I was 7 years old when you first
saw it, yeah.
And then, so in this area, the Bluff Creek area, actually, in 1968, they took the patches and gave them for film. Yeah. In 1963, when I was 7 years old, I seen one in my backyard. That reached through the window. Yeah. And but I know about it because my parents always talked about it. We call him Tin Thai, the old man of the forest. I've done a lot of TV shows. So I did Survivor Man with Les Strauss. I did Animal Planet, Searching for Bigfoot with Bobo and all them guys. I did two Hulu documentaries for the most extinct animals in the world. I just did a podcast with Bryce Johnson. Actually, I turned on a TV show to be on the Travel Channel. And I did a TV show with what's his name? Rob Lowe.
Oh, yeah, Rob, yeah.
Yeah, Robo Files.
Yeah. He was the best
So,
shape.
I've had a pretty interesting life. I do a lot of, I mean, I have a lot of people interview me actually all the time. I'm on different podcasts and different things that people. And I've had these 3 guys that came here from Ireland. And so my last name is McCovey.
Yeah.
So my great grandfather was Irish. So he married my father's. He married my father's great grandmother, which was full-blood Yurok. And then his son married another full-blood Yurok. And then my father's dad married a full-blood Yurok. And so my dad was back into to where his blood was like most full-blood.
Yeah.
But actually the McCovey name was spelled McCovvy. It's spelled McCvey now.
Yeah.
But so I asked my dad, I said, well, how did it change? Because my dad showed me the birth certificate. He said the V came this way and the second V came this way, so they thought it was the E. So they put an E on it instead of a V. So it's really McCovey. And so the guys that came from over there, and when I pulled up there, he looks at me for a long time and goes, oh, hey. He goes, you're that guy. You're that guy on TV. You're the Spider-Man, right? I go, yeah. We watch you. We just got to watch you. We watch you like.
Yeah.
And he's like, so anyway, I kind of talked to him. He goes, anyway, I was like, tell him how he spelled my last name. He goes, oh, McCovey. He goes, yes. Your name is quite known in our country.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I say I meet people from all the world, interesting people everywhere. And I don't know how it is. Some of these people just know who I am.
Yeah.
And some people will just, read about this and they'll read about my name, and all of a sudden they'll look on things and they'll find me on TV.
Yeah.
Actually come talk to me.
That's so great too. You just here, you just live your life and doing your thing, and it just seems like you're aligning with your purpose,
Yeah, that's
and then it just life comes to you in this way.
yeah. I mean, I think I'm gifted in my life. I mean, I'm not wealthy in money, but I'm wealthy.
Yeah, you're wealthy in all the important ways.
Yeah, that's what.
Your
Because
family and
I was just talking to the chairman. The chairman actually was down here a couple of days ago, and he was telling me he was talking to her, and he's like, he goes, people don't think we're wealthy people. He goes, but he goes, we're not the richest by money. He said, but man, look at all that we have. He goes, a lot of people don't have this, what we have, that we've been blessed with this. And I said, well, I think we're blessed with being caretakers and prayermakers for this place, because that's where our purpose is, to come here and make prayer for, all Mother Earth. And, because I've been getting more kind of spiritual lately too. When you're younger, you're kind of, I was kind of, but I got trained by a shaman when I was a young boy too. So I got what's the word for it? Humbled, I guess, when I was very young.
yeah.
And so, but my mother knew her children very well, and she dragged her children into who they were going to be and what they were going to be, and she didn't want to try to change who they were.
Yeah.
But she kind of, like me, she took me to a tribal shaman,
Yeah.
and so I kind of got trained by him as I was growing up,
Yeah.
and I was blessed with that. I wish I was blessed with more of the language. I heard it when I was young. I mean, since my wife's a speaker a little bit, it's all kind of coming back because it's in here someplace. It's like in that dictionary someplace back there. It just needs to be brought out again.
Yeah.
So, which it is. So.
Can I ask you a question? You said that your dad's side married Yurok.
Yeah, my father was a Yurok.
So but you're a
Hoopa.
Hoopa. So how does
Well,
you go by your mom's?
so
Hoopa?
my father's tribe was not a recognized tribe. So all my blood went to my mother's side because the Hoopa were a recognized tribe because we were the biggest land base in California. So the Hoopa Reservation used to go all the way to Klamath, the mouth of Klamath. It used to be 1 mile on each side of Klamath.
Yeah.
But when the Yurok tribe became a recognized tribe, the Hoopa did a proclamation with a reclamation for land and gave the land back to the Yurok people, which was their land in the first place. So, but my mother and father, my grandparents, from my mother's side, my grandparents from my father's side, they knew each other their whole lives. So my grandfather on my mother's side spoke 4 languages, and my grandmother on my father's side spoke 4 languages.
Yeah.
So they spoke Hoopa, Yurok, and Kruka English. And so that they knew how to, they communicated. Because Hoopa language is Athabascan, and Yurok is Algonquin, completely 2 different languages. So when I was growing up, I kind of had to listen to both languages, so it was kind of, and then English too on top of that. And but I know more Hoopa than I do Yurok. So, and one time the shaman goes, and he started talking to me. He goes, "Well, you need to start learning how to speak your language." And he was talking about my father's language on the York side. Excuse me, guys. So, and then I go, my mother is dicey. He goes, "Oh, you're Hoopa too." Like, yeah. But he knew me my whole life, and he knew that. But as I got bigger and bigger, he kind of, because he was in his 70s and 80s, So, and as I was getting bigger, I changed looks. Because I was 13 years old. I got in a really bad motorcycle wreck, and so I was in the hospital for about a month or so. Anyway, I was only 5'2" when I went to the hospital, and when I came out, I was 5'11".
Oh my God.
I grew that much in a month and a half. Oh my God. And so people didn't recognize it. So I had really long hair too at the time. Yeah. And so I cut it all back and had short hair. Even when I went back to school, people were like, "Who's that? Who's that?" I don't recognize him. Yeah. I was like, "It's me, it's Inker." Like, "Man, you've grown. You look different. Your hair," because I was all slicked back. Yeah. Anyway, that's when the ladies started chasing me.
So, can I ask you a little bit about being trained as a shaman?
Yeah.
I guess one thing is I would be curious to hear anything you feel like sharing about, I guess, the initiation into that process. But then also just like, is this what you're doing right now, just by talking to people, or is there something more of an official thing that you do?
Because some people call me a shaman.
Yeah.
There's young kids call me shaman.
Yeah.
Or they'll call me what do they call me? What do they call me? The maker or something like that. But not all kids. Just most of the kids I know.
Yeah.
I can never be a shaman because I have too many children. Because shamanism, you have to be the celibate life. And so when I was training with the shaman, he told me that I could never be a shaman because shamanism, you have to live pure and live that life.
Yeah.
He says once you have children, you can endanger your children of shamanism, because if you don't do something right, you could actually hurt your family instead of helping them.
Yeah.
But I think I do have that in me.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of brought to me by my mother and father too, because my grandmother, I have a picture of my grandmother, but my great-grandmother, she was born in 1868 and she died in 1968, but she was a shaman. But she had children, but she was an Indian doctor. She knew all the old medicines and how to talk to the creator and to help heal and stuff like that. I have visions. So one of the things I do is I see things on people. Sometimes might be bad.
Yeah.
I see auras on people.
Yeah.
So the first kid that drowned down here,
yeah,
I seen something on him. So I couldn't see his face when I was right next to him, because his face had this movement, was moving. And so I kept saying to him, I said, "I don't want you in the river. I want you to stay out of the river." So I told him about 10 times, over and over. He goes, no, I'm not going to get in the river. And then I said, excuse my language, but I just want you to say the F out of the goddamn river. I don't want you in that river.
Yeah.
Because I seen it on him.
Yeah.
And I told his family, and they're like, oh no, we're not going to get work. And so him and his two friends, one of his brothers and another friend, tried to swim that this time of the year. And on the 20th. And his friend and the brother made it out, but he got sucked down. And they found him about 3 months later. He was at the very mouth of the river.
Yeah.
But he had this green aura around him
You can see.
that I seen, because sometimes I see it on the other people,
Yeah.
and it's not good.
Mhm.